I have 3:30. Are we on the record? Good to go? All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Time is 3:30 p.m. This is the Tech City Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors meeting, July 29, 2026. In accordance with the posted agenda, we'll begin with agenda item 1, which is declaration of a quorum. We have all members present, so we have a quorum. Agenda item number 2 is a roll call. We'll begin on my left with our newest
here.
Mark Chevalier, member.
Brian Burke, director.
Bill Roberts, member.
Randy Beal, member.
Thank you all very much. Agenda item number 3 is do we have any conflict of interest to declare on the record for any of the matters on the agenda today? Sensing none, we have no conflicts of interest to declare. We'll move to agenda item number 4, public comments. Are there any members of the public that wish to address the board? Sensing none, we'll move to agenda item number 5, which is consider approval of the July 1st, 2026 meeting minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes as disseminated?
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our July 1st, 2026 meeting. Is there any further discussion on the motion and second? Sensing none, all in favor of the motion state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Mr.
And the
Chairman,
minute-
I'm going to abstain since I wasn't there.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So let the record reflect we have 4 ayes, 1 abstention, 0 nays for approval of the minutes from our July 1st meeting. Thank you for that, Mr. Doyle. Agenda item number 6, new business, 6A, discussion or possible action on resolution 2026-19, which is approving the fiscal year 2027 budget for Tech City Economic Development Corporation. We'll turn it over to our director, Kristen Edwards. Ms. Edwards.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members. I just wanted to take a second before we get started to acknowledge former Mayor Matt Doyle for joining us. We truly appreciate you being here and your insight, so thank you for accepting this position. I'm here to, on item number 1, discuss the Texas City Economic Development Corporation's budget for fiscal 27. So that would begin October 1st of 26 and continue through September 30th of 27. We'll go through this PowerPoint presentation. You also have in front of you the budget numbers as they sit. Please feel free to jump in and stop me at any time as I present this information. I'm happy to answer any questions. So starting with the first slide. Our budget for the EDC of fiscal 26 was roughly 4.9 million. We did have one significant budget amendment to support a bridge repair at the golf course, but that amount is basically what we had for EDC, so right around that 4.9. What we are requesting for fiscal 27 is approximately 4.3. So we have managed to, thank you, we've managed to reduce that amount by about $500,000. And an important thing to note there is that that includes new positions, promotions, and a sales tax rebate line that was not in the budget previously. So that's still a decrease in spending from fiscal 26. Related to salaries and benefits, so as you look at your draft budget in front of you, the first section, starting with object code 21500 through 51191, we are working with leadership to figure out the compensation and promotion amounts for the employees listed on the screen. We will finalize those items prior to submitting the approval to the EDC, to the City Commission. But please be aware that even with our estimates, it's still looking like we're going to be at that 4.3 number. So I wanted to take this group, especially Mayor Doyle, through the biggest priorities that we have in our EDC budget. These are the things that we put the most focus on and allow us to do our jobs on a day-to-day basis. So first and foremost, the EDC contracts with a variety of professional organizations. These can include engineering, Texas downtown professionals, and different agencies that we work with to pull in geotechnical data as well as other information related to Shoal Point and the projects developing out there, as well as the potential construction of a roadway leading from Loop 197 up to the top of Shoal Point. The ones we have in the budget specifically for this year include HDR Engineering that have already helped us this year with our core permit removal and will continue to be on retainer for us throughout the road construction and design process. It's a big project, and there are a lot of moving parts outside of the city of Texas City, so having their help will be extremely valuable. We work with HDL on sales tax recovery and research, a little bit more about that. That's the company that provides us the comptroller's data from the state on a monthly basis, so we don't have to request it constantly. They're keeping that updated. And they do sales tax recovery for us. And what that means for the city is if they find a company that is or has not paid the correct amount of taxes, when they pay that back, we get 75% of it, and they retain 25% as their payment. There are other agencies on here. I don't need to go into every single one, but suffice it to say, these are the groups that we need to work on our primary efforts. Next, we have building maintenance and lighting repairs. So the city, for the EDC, owns property along 6th Street, including 317 through 19th 6th, 411 and 413, which are the same building with two different addresses, 522, 607, which is our Phoenix building, and 718 6th Street, which is the 6th Street Community Plaza, as well as the festoon lighting along 6th Street. We also own the building located at the intersection of 9th Street and 9th Avenue. Our dream has always been to keep a brewery there, but TBD. So these items require continuing potential support, everything from small maintenance items like plumbing to say there was a roof damage or major storm that impacted several buildings. So having a little bit of money on hand to make those repairs and do it quickly is our priority here. Next, we delve a little bit into the 6th Street Community Plaza. And I want to mention one of the reasons we were able to cut down the budget significantly this year was because the 6th Street Community Plaza had not been open during the last fiscal year. So we had no idea how the utilities were going to run, what maintenance was going to cost. We needed that first year to ascertain those prices. So now we are under a maintenance contract for the plaza, which is under $100,000, and our utilities are right at $150,000. And that's for 4 different water sources, including a water play area and a water feature, the Serenity Pool. And that's significantly under what we thought it could have been during that first year. We also have alarms and cameras throughout the plaza itself. We buy event supplies for kids' events and holiday events, that kind of thing. We're looking at a part-time groundskeeper, which will be hugely helpful to our staff that can't be there every moment, but to be able to deal with small concerns in the moment. And finally, painting supplies, electrical security. So the purpose of this is just to show you, when you're looking at the budget, all the different places where expenses associated with the community plaza would come up. So a little bit more about major priorities. The Economic Development Corporation established 2 grant programs in '24. There includes the Business Improvement Grant, which is a 50% match by the EDC for qualifying exterior improvements. We budget a max of $15,000 for each of those, and we budget for 10 per year, which brings us to that $150,000. We also have a chamber dues reimbursement grant that is for a maximum of $5,000 each for a total amount of $50,000 per year for 10 of those. So that's where we get to that $200,000 total number. It goes without saying that if we don't refund the full amount of that $15,000, we have money left for other potential projects. Procurement of property. In previous fiscal years, the EDC has had money in the budget for purchase of property within the IBD. That may or may not be a continuing practice with the EDC, but there are always potential projects in the 6th Street Revitalization District, potential purchases for the EDC to utilize, for example, for a new building. So we wanted to keep that in there, number 1, for consistency, but number 2, because there are always opportunities that come up and we want to have that budget ready. Finally, demolitions, $400,000. For clarification, this amount is only for commercial demolition. Residential demolition comes out of a different source. And this amount represents exactly, well, a little less than what we might have paid when we had an apartment complex that was coming down earlier in the year. It came up much lower than that, but we had that amount ready, and that's just an example of one project that could have taken all of that money. This is another example of a project that may appear multiple times in the budget. This is the Phoenix Business Accelerator. We do a lot of really exciting work in the Business Accelerator. We offer very, very low rate office space or cubby spaces for a new business owner or an entrepreneur to come in, use free amenities, free utilities, have a outgoing and incoming mail system, and take advantage of educational opportunities, all as part of their client membership. When we say business incentives, what we mean is paying for the classes that we've curated specifically for our business clients, and also a program that we worked with Vision Galveston last year called Mortar that we look to continue with this year. That program is special because it opened up the participation to both not only Texas City, but people around Galveston County to get them in the facility to learn more about what we had to offer and ideally generate us more clients. Professional fees are in there as needed. Facility maintenance, we've got $20,000 set aside for that. Printer, which is for the client's use, and digital equipment, I put that in there to replace a couple of laptops, just should we need it. Okay, advertising and marketing. Much of the items that you see in this budget are based on the EDC's strategic plan that was ratified in 2023, and one of the major priorities identified in that plan was setting aside funding for advertising and marketing. It was important to the group that approved that document that we had information out there about our available properties, about our incentives, just about the city's appeal at all, not to mention tourism, now that we're managing that. So you can look at this list and see the range of physical, print, and digital advertising methods that we utilize to get our message out there, not just once a year, but throughout the year. Software. We couldn't do what we do without the assistance of some software. And everything we have up there is critical to being able to answer questions quickly, serve our customers. CoStar, for example, provides all of the information we would need about a piece of property that someone from outside would be considering to purchase, or if we were looking at purchasing, we would have all the details, contact points for that property, etc. The other side of that agreement is LoopNet, which ensures that all of Texas City's properties are on that national website. So it's very important that we stay involved with that. Placer AI is a switch from a platform that we used last year to gather tourism metrics. This new system will also gather economic development metrics for our use and to build up our messaging with current data. Brown Book is a $250 a year investment, but it's worth mentioning because it is maintained by one company that checks all of the local businesses within the state of Texas that may be looking to move here and keeps up with where are they looking, what have been their latest conversations. It's really interesting. CivicServe is a CRM platform that we would look to invest in this coming year, as well as ImPlan, which is the platform that helps us understand if we're considering a potential project, how many jobs is that going to create? How much property and sales tax is it going to generate? That helps us be as informed as possible as we consider potential incentive projects. Some additional priorities for us. The city, or the EDC, supports the Clean Team. It is a van that you've probably seen driving around the city many times. They are able to not only spot check individual areas that might need a little bit of attention, but also the EDC is able to call them for specific needs. So if there's been a mess made in front of, say, a building on 6th Street, but not just for 6th Street, we can call them and ask them, please help us, and of course are always great about that. We also will be creating a new agreement this year for mowing services. I say creating a new, and we'll be putting an RFP out for mowing services again very soon. We may continue with our existing vendor, which is Yellowstone. We may shift to another. It just, of course, depends on pricing. So we put that price in there, and that is 4% per year for the period that we had the contract inflation, so we can kind of guess what that's going to come out to. Finally, training and conferences. This was another priority that was outlined in the Pathways to Prosperity plan. Our staff deals not only with economic development, but also with tourism efforts, foreign trade zone incentive, which basically helps international shipping businesses from paying excise taxes within the zone. And zone is a misnomer. The zone is a 60 square mile radius. We just have the companies that take advantage of the foreign trade zone identify their subzone. We have interest in attending the Texas City Management Association. Retail Strategies is a retail consultant that we work with to help us bring new retail to the city. Greater Houston Manufacturers Association, as we get deeper and deeper into bringing manufacturing to the city, which was a target industry in our strategic plan, to learn more about that and get us in the middle of those conversations. And finally, the Small Business Administration, we participate in webinars with them. It's not on here because it's not training, but we also partner with SCORE, which is associated with SBA, that is a group of former business professionals that will come and speak and give us some good presentations as part of our Small Business Success Series. And before questions, I just want to say thank you so much to this group for your continued support of our goals. We couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't do it as well without your guidance, so thank you.
I do have a question.
Shoot.
How many do we have in the foreign trade zone currently? Two, still two.
Right now, Marathon and Valera. But there are companies, especially at Shoal Point, that under construction will benefit from that program. Mhm.
Further questions, anyone?
When you do the new renewal of mowing services,
Yes.
how many is that? 2 year, 3 year, 4 year?
The last agreement was 1 year with 3 one-year extensions. So, and that worked out really well for us. Yellowstone did a great job. We would probably model this new agreement right after that one.
A couple of questions, Kristen.
Yes.
So the community keeper, plaza groundskeeper position, is that gonna be an employee or contract employee or independent contractor, or how is that? Do we have an idea of what that position's gonna look like?
It would be a part-time city employee.
Part-time city?
We would cap that salary probably around $35,000. It may be less depending on the class of the position. But the
Okay.
purpose of that is just to have someone literally walking the grounds throughout the week to ensure there aren't any concerns with the equipment itself or messes.
Okay. The budget item for the citywide litter control, is that the total cost of that program, or is that just like a partial subsidy of that total program?
So what that actually pays for is the part-time labor associated with the clean team. So that PO appears in the budget with 2 other part-time employees that we bring in, but that is our portion for our clean team function.
Okay. And the professional fees, it's $700,000. Do you have an idea, how does that compare to last year and what we paid? And I know we've expanded the scope of professional services necessarily. But
Yes.
how does that compare to last year?
So for example, and I'm glad you asked that, we contracted with Colliers Engineering this year to conduct 10 to 15% schematic design as well as opinion of probable cost on what the roadway from Loop 197 to Shoal Point could look like. Some initial engineering, all of that stuff. They also did a preferred route study for us. That was close to $500,000. We anticipate continuing those design efforts this year at the direction of this board as well as the mayor to determine the next step of that, which could include getting us to 30% design, what have you. We anticipate that costing a little bit more. That's not to mention geotechnical research that we'll need to do as part of working with the Corps to build that road to the desired height. So you can hear very quickly how fast that 700,000 is going to disappear.
Is that enough?
If it's not, I will come back to you.
When will we get that report, first report for that road in the location? Huh?
It's literally coming Friday. July 31st was their deadline of their contract.
Good.
Yeah.
And will that, or do we already have soil stability reports?
So we've conducted geotechnical analysis already, as have both of the projects, and everything we've gotten back has essentially said that the property is friendly to piling efforts. So that's exciting, but obviously doing more detailed geotech, especially on the route of the road, will benefit both the Corps and the city to know what they're dealing with in terms of construction.
Has the Corps determined the height yet?
No, sir. So the factors associated with that are how high it would need to go to realistically be used in perpetuity. We don't know that until we know the structure of what's under there now and how much it could be built up. So that's what the geotechnical research that we look to perform this fiscal year will help us answer.
Our assumption is that has, did the Corps sort of portend that it's gonna be higher than we all thought it,
Yes.
ever originally thought? It's going to have to be higher for,
Yeah.
whether for dredging, for natural calamity, whatever, it's gonna have to be a lot higher than we anticipated.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah.
But again, the reason that it has to be higher and be able to be used continuously is that is where they put their dredge spoils for the channel. That's literally what that space is used for. So while from the road perspective, it's an element that we weren't expecting for the life of the port, especially as we look to potentially study making it a deep water port as part of the Galveston Industries project, it'll be critical to have somewhere immediate to be able to put those spoils.
And I guess the width of that road, because the height is gonna get wider than what we probably, my first anticipation was, and how we support that roadway with what materials.
Mm-hmm. 4-lane heavy transit, first of all. So the plan is to, because we haven't even landed on the final route lately. We have the preferred route, and we have the route we've considered with Colliers extensively. But we just found out that Advario has a piece of property that they might be willing to allow us to use that would avoid the cost of a complex bridge structure, which would make the whole thing a lot more affordable. So that's going to be what the next engineering firm looks at is how do we want to manage that? Obviously, I would assume that piling efforts again would come into play, especially once you get onto Shoal Point. But all of that would be determined in an engineering report that we just don't have yet.
So we know what's about to occur, what is occurring at the confluence of 146 Highway 3 and I-45. Is TxDOT aware of what we're doing here and how
Very
that's
much.
going to potentially affect
Yes, sir.
that whole interchange?
So we are members of BayTran, it's the Bay Area Transportation, and what we did with them about 6 months ago, and we'll look to do every 6 months, is we had a Loop 197 stakeholders meeting. That included 2 district members of TxDOT present, as well as the companies undertaking improvements or planning to undertake improvements. So everybody was able to talk to everyone else. Port of Texas City was there as well. Not only to create that awareness, but also to stop any potential hiccups. So for example, TxDOT was planning on improving a segment of roadway, not realizing that it was going to be under construction before they even started. So they decided to extend that project out to avoid having to do double work. Those meetings have been extremely helpful, if for no other reason than to maintain current contacts, but also just to be thinking about it from a full scope perspective.
Great, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments about the proposed budget?
There's some items on here that you may have gone over and I just missed. The debt transfer, is that a number that's fixed annually or transfer to debt service? Obviously, we have some kind of debt we're helping out with.
Right, that is my understanding, yes, sir.
Do we know what that is?
If you
That's
would,
probably an unfair question. Didn't ask it in advance. I apologize for that. That won't happen again.
you're
so-
totally fine. I would rather dig into it and be able to
Sure.
get you adequate information.
Sure. And for future references for guys that have very poor eyes, commas would help for me to keep up with what these numbers really represent instead of me having to put them in. But if you can't, I get it. And I really don't care what's right at the decimal point. So you really don't need a decimal
Thank
point unless somebody else does.
And although that's not a motion, I second that.
I can stop making these in Excel. That would solve the problem.
Well, whatever's easiest for you. I don't want to make your job harder. I'm just asking for a little help.
I don't mind that at all.
And then the sales tax rebate, is that something we can talk about, or can you explain to me?
Yes, no, we can talk about that. So the sales tax rebate line represents the portion of our Chapter 380 sales tax reimbursement agreements that the EDC is responsible for. We have 5 active agreements at this time. There's always room to add more. So for example, for the HEB development, we could potentially consider an investment for that. So that money, that amount in there, which is,
appears to be 40,247,000.
Yeah,
But-
that's a
but-
typo for
yeah,
sure.
But I think I got my commas in the wrong place, so
yeah,
I think
no,
it's
you-
4,024,718.
It's not even that much. It's actually something more like 500,000.
Okay.
That's a huge typo, and I don't know how that happened. And
That's
I
okay.
apologize.
Hey, look,
I think
it's-
that was the
it's fine.
total for the whole budget.
Now that what you're talking, the other number you're talking about, if that's it, is in street improvements, which was gonna be another question of mine.
So those are CIP projects.
Okay.
So we don't necessarily know whether or not those are going to happen, and
Gotcha.
even in what fiscal year.
Gotcha. And just out of curiosity, what's our fund balance?
I'm glad you asked that because I did extra research before I came today. So our fund balance at the end of this fiscal year will look something like $22 million. It's important to note that this year in sales tax collection, we have been 11.2% over what we were year over year, which is really exciting. That means more sales tax income for us, that means more support for the city, and obviously more room for the EDC to have some wiggle room. I'd love to have the opportunity to talk you through that STAR report, because I've presented it to the EDC before.
Sure.
It's a good report, and it gives you a lot of good information.
I'd love to do that. I'm assuming Marathon has a lot to do with why that number's a lot bigger.
So,
And hopefully, traditionally, they always underestimate, well, traditionally they overestimate, but the great deal is you get a 0% loan, if it's still the same, that you get to pay back over 20 years.
so I didn't need to tell you that, but yes, the top 10 taxpayers are, start with Blanchard, then Valero, and go down from there. Buc-ee's is actually a huge generator for the city. Yep. People love their
I'd love to
Buc-ee's.
see what that check is monthly.
That will roll off of our 380 agreements in a few years, though.
Say that again?
The Buc-ee's agreement, the Chapter 380 agreement, is just about finished, about 2 to 3 more years, and we won't have that on the books anymore.
We don't owe him, he doesn't owe us,
That's right.
which really means we get more.
That's right.
This is the
I can't fathom what that company's worth, but we'll move on.
It's expensive beaver. Any other questions or comments for the budget presentation? Thank you for a lot of work. I know this is a busy time of year for folks in local government. It's trying to herd all the cats and mosquitoes and get them all into one spreadsheet and trying to figure out and get the crystal ball polished up and look forward, all of that. So thank you for all your work on that. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, very good report.
Further comments or questions about the proposed budget and the resolution? Sensing none, the chair would entertain a motion on our resolution 2026-19, which would be approval of the fiscal year budget for 2027.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2026-19, approving the fiscal year 2027 budget. Is there any additional discussion on the motion and second? Sensing none, all in favor of the motion state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. Agenda item 6B, discussion and possible action on resolution number 2026-20, approving a final payment to the Edifice Group following weather-related damage. Ms. Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Texas City Economic Development Corporation has historically entered into property and sales tax reimbursement agreements, typically Chapter 380 sales tax reimbursement agreements, to encourage development and business growth in our community. On January 1st of 2019, the EDC entered into an incentive agreement, as allowed by Chapter 380 in the Texas Code, with Edifice Group, owners of a shopping center located along Palmer Highway. The sales tax reimbursement agreement held a term of 7 years, meaning that it would end on January 1st of this year, 2026. And that's all outlined in the original document which you had attached to your agenda. The sales tax reimbursement agreement offered the opportunity for Edifice over 7 years' time to have that sales tax refund in place to a total amount of $1.6 million. So how those work is you either get to the end of the term with what you've got, or you get to the amount set and then the agreement is terminated. By July 1st, 2026, Edifice had been reimbursed approximately $1.2 million of the $1.6 million that they had available in that agreement. Unfortunately, during the term of that agreement, one of the buildings in the Edifice Shopping Center sustained critical damage during a major weather event, leading to a $1.3 million roof replacement that they had to handle. According to Section 10.4 of our original agreement, all obligations of the agreement would be subject to a force majeure event, and those examples specifically include adverse weather. So I did some numbers, I put some numbers together with respect to what they could have earned if we'd given them an additional 6 months as part of the Chapter 380. That amount resulted in $128,646, which we are looking at giving to the Edifice Group as a final payment to give them something for having to deal with that damage and that loss of business during the time. For record, the remaining amount owed on that agreement, which was around $449,426, would still have been up for grabs essentially if the business has been operating at their full level. So the $128,646 is half of what the Economic Development Corporation would have had to have paid out if they had reached their full amount. The group has verbally agreed to this compromise, and with y'all's approval, what we would do is work with the city attorney to develop a final agreement between the EDC and Edifice, indicating that this payment was related to the force majeure and firmly ending the contract between us.
And the city attorney has, obviously, is aware of all this, and it's his recommendation that we proceed in this manner.
Yes, sir. We've also conferred with the mayor, and he was also.
That's a good deal. Y'all negotiated a good deal. You should do it. I'll make a motion.
I do have a question. Have they completed the roof repair?
Yes, they have. It was a $1.3 million job.
Didn't seem like that big a space, did it, Randy?
Yes. Have y'all seen the pictures of it?
No.
So that's the damage down
That's
there.
on top of the interior.
That's where the mess occurs.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know how many square feet in there, but there are multiple businesses in there, aren't there?
There are multiple businesses as part of the Edifice Group that were located adjacent to this building.
Anyway.
We have a motion to approve resolution number 2026-20. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-20, approving final payment to the Edifice Group following weather-related damage. Is there further discussion on the motion? Sensing none, all in favor of the motion state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the motion is approved unanimously. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Agenda item 6C, discussion and possible action on resolution number 2026-21, approving a Texas City Lamarck Chamber membership grant in an amount not to exceed $500.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as mentioned previously, the Texas City Economic Development Corporation has established two types of grants within the last several years. In August of 2023, we established a chamber membership grant to assist local businesses with the cost of joining the Texas City Lamarck Chamber of Commerce. The goal behind that was to get them started networking, get them to see the value of the chamber, and ideally stay involved in future years. Staff has received a completed application from Smokin' J Homemade Burgers and Barbecue. You may recall that business name because they were in front of us last month for a business improvement grant, which we did extend. Applicants must represent a new for-profit business or an existing for-profit business that has not previously joined the chamber, and they do qualify under those settings. Funds are available in the EDC's annual budget under that grants line that we spoke about.
Where is this? I should know where this place is, but I don't.
Yes, sir. It's at Mainland City Center. It's one of the restaurants
Okay,
on Restaurant
okay,
Restaurant.
okay.
And just for awareness, when we discussed this last month, they're doing a lot to have those exterior improvements match what Restaurant Row has done with the benches and the murals and all that.
Thank you. Further questions, comments? Chair,
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2026-21, approving Texas City Lamarck membership grant in the amount of not to exceed $500. Is there further discussion on the motion? Sensing none, all in favor of the motion state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Updates and reports. Don't see anyone here from the chamber or, I know the school district they're starting.
Yeah, they're starting.
Reports for us, Ms. Edwards.
The line that says industrial update works into my typical staff updates. So first and foremost, work is continuing on a multi-billion-dollar partnership project between MPLX and 10K. That project, which is visible from 197, will include the fractionation unit itself, a major pipeline to be completed by 10K, and a dock expansion at Marathon to allow for the shipment of the materials that project will create. The city is continuing to work with Galveston Industries, which I can now finally say is actually APM Terminals, on a $2 billion plus container terminal project on Shoal Point. Staff has been involved in the project for 3.5 years, and I couldn't tell anybody, so I'm really happy that we can actually discuss now as the public is aware and we can
Once
better
the
support.
state knows about something, everybody knows about
It's the
something.
truth.
So don't think it was a big secret.
So one interesting thing about the project that has come up recently is that they will be undertaking a 203 navigational feasibility study with permission from the U.S. Army, for which the city has agreed to be a non-federal sponsor. Just for awareness, that doesn't mean any financial obligation on our part. That's part of the agreement that we'll sign with APM Terminals. But being the face of the project, showing up to the meetings, providing that local insight, that's really what they need us for. Number 3, the other project slated for Shoal Point is the Galveston LNG bunker port, which has a first phase of $250 million with the potential to grow significantly based on whether or not they expand their customers beyond cruise ships into industry. So that's to be determined, but they have the space within their lease to do so. As a reminder, our office constantly fields potential projects from both the state of Texas and the Greater Houston Partnership. The EDC is in communication with several other potential projects, and all of those are in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So as we continue to sift through those and we potentially move forward, we'll bring that to y'all for awareness as we can. NDAs kind of keep me from some of that. The Chamber Education Committee, which I chair, we are working continuously on the Pipelines Initiative, which is a workforce development project that includes the Texas City ISD, Dickinson ISD, COM, the Chamber, local nonprofits, as well as the business community. And we are looking to hold a strategic planning workshop in the next couple of months, which will give that entire committee with all of their specific goals a roadmap going forward, a timeline to work from, KPIs that we'd be looking at. So this is going to give that education committee structure that it's arguably not had in the past. The Phoenix Business Accelerator, which is located in downtown 6th Street, has a total of 9 clients now, and that is thanks to that beautiful lady sitting on the back row, Ariel Callis, my project manager. She is the person that is in that building every day, conducting site tours, receiving applications, and compared to some of the other regional incubators that have been built near us, 9 clients is a huge win. So doing a great job there. The 6th Street Community Plaza, as mentioned earlier, does feature monthly concerts, vendor events, as well as special kids events that we've done throughout the summer. And that's all thanks to Jade Jones, who is our community events and tourism manager. She'll be here at future EDC meetings to discuss further. Finally, the Economic Development Department also covers tourism for the city. We've created a tourism website that we'll be launching soon. And further than that, we'll be working with city and community tourism assets to keep the content on that website current. We're also looking to develop a tourism committee with those tourism attractions.
Further to your work with the education committee, it has been my experience across this county, and I think it's probably everywhere, there's a huge need for municipal employees, local government employees. And if the College of the Mainland could develop a curriculum for a public service degree, 2-year degree, that would route people, everything from building inspectors, code enforcement officers, tax and finance, just across the board. It would not only fill a huge need, there's a lot of students that I think would fit into that career path that just don't have any idea about local government, you know, unless you work in local government, really don't have a sense of everything that goes on. I think that's a big opportunity for COM that would also fill a huge need. Every taxing entity, every local government entity that I have interfaced with echoes the same problems. We can't find people. And part of it, I know, they have to be competitive on the salary side and all that, but part of it is young people are not being routed into that career field. So if that's an opportunity I think we could help fill.
I agree with you completely. I would also offer that right now, as a result of the work in pipelines, we're developing a case study of what it looks like to meet a business, ascertain their needs, and create courses around that. So once we have that case study in place, it'll be very easy to replicate that for different programs.
Have you got a date set for that pipeline project with all of these?
The strategic plan workshop?
Meeting with them.
Oh, so we meet once a month based on the chamber's availability as well as mine. They're not regular dates. It's not like the first Wednesday of the month or anything. But we do send that out to our membership, and if you'd be interested in being a member or just being aware, I'm happy to include you on that.
Well, I just want to echo on what Mark said. That's a great opportunity, and if we take the lead or push the envelope of pushing the button for some of those key players, especially with COM, that would be great. You get a pat on your back.
There's advantages to being chair. That was everything that I had.
Question for you.
Yes.
The LNG bunker port. Have you
Yes.
heard anything lately about that project?
Yes, we're in basically constant communication. We've finally finalized an easement agreement between them and APM Terminals due to the fact that a pipeline coming in from the northwest corner of the island will go through Galveston Industries property, and the roadway connecting Loop 197 up to Shoal Point for that project's benefit will go through the LNG's lease area. So basically having an understanding that both projects will be able to conduct that work and mutually benefit. Yep. That is a conversation that I've been waiting to have with the mayor until things kind of settled down with him. I wanted to make sure that he was okay with the design that y'all previously approved before moving forward.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you, Ms. Edwards. We appreciate that. Anybody else from staff? Mr. Branson?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, board members, just want to recognize Kristen for her excellent work that she's done and to let you know that she's recently received a promotion. Her title is now Executive Director of Economic Development, and she will be overseeing a couple of departments in the city, and she will be overseeing the majority of the corporations. So kudos to Kristen, great work, congratulations. And I think most of you know, but Joe Tumbleson is our recently appointed Chief of Staff, and he works directly for the mayor and then works with the commission members and directs all staff within the city. So kudos to Joe as well.
Indeed. Glad you're here. Always.
It's quiet back there, Chief.
I do have one more thing.
Yes.
And I'm going to try to get through this without crying TBD. I want to thank my boss, John Branson, for all of the help that he's given me since I've come to the city and learning economic development and the major projects that we've worked on together. His guidance has been incredible. I don't think I've ever worked for a better leader, and we're going to miss him.
I would echo that comment as well. John has been an incredible resource and a joy to work with. His expertise is just his way of navigating the waters of working with local government and all the moving parts of that. Been a real testament to professionalism, and we're definitely going to miss you and know you always have friends here in Texas City.
And other than Joe, John I can still take credit for you. The last person I was lucky enough to bring on before I left, and Joe and I have worked together for a long, long time.
Indeed. We're blessed to have a great team.
They shouldn't have ever sent you on vacation.
Yes.
Anything else?
I want to add,
Please.
echo my thank you to John. Great job. On behalf of the EDC and the whole city, thank you for everything.
Absolutely. All right, anything else for the good of our beloved city? Sensing none, we stand adjourned. In the absence of a motion otherwise, the time is 4:15. Thank you all.
Mark, you're pretty efficient.